Hey guys, many of you are not gonna like this video, but I'm telling you, we've all been there. I've been there, especially during my 5 days with God. I went through this the last day, and then I went through the fourth day and the last day. I literally was like Job. I was like, God, why are you doing this to me? I said some things, and like I said, God gave me scriptures every day during the 5 days, right? And the last scripture he gave me on the fifth day was Peter, First Peter 2 and 3. Okay, but he gave me Job the first day. He gave me Job, but last week he did say something about Job, and I told you guys about Job, and I didn't know why God was saying something about we're going through a Job moment, right? And then so during my 5 days with him beginning, he gave me Job, and I started reading Job, and I just it's just a lot of things that I saw that I was like, God, you're really, 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 really preaching to me and talking to me, you know? And over the 5 days, I heard his voice a lot, okay? So he was so active, and he took care of me. The last day was really hard. If you didn't watch my other video, the last day was hard because the last day, the devil really acted up and was really using people. And, you know, and I always tell people, you know, if God tells you to do something, God would never tell you to slander anybody. God would never tell you to put someone down. And especially if God knows that person is fasting and they're on their last day of fast, 6 hours left of their fast, no food, you know what I mean? And if someone chooses that specific day to do slander videos, or that specific day to write negative messages to you or comments to you or whatever, that's how I know the devil was using people. And then on top of that, early in the day, I found out some bad news. So that day was it was like that day was a test, right? And I went through a Job moment that day too, because I'm like, God. But in the evening, God really, really, really changed everything around and really blessed me. And I'm so thankful for it. But I want to talk to you about this because how many of you guys have said to yourself, God, why are you doing this to me? God, why me? You know, God, I've been so nice to people. I haven't hurt people. I haven't done this and that. And let me tell you something about Job. Job was a very wealthy man. Job has a lot going for him, right? Job was blessed by God. Okay. And Job was like a celebrity in his town. Like, he was the man that everybody went to. And he was so covered and so blessed. But when God took everything from Job, you know, it's not that God took everything from Job, the devil did. And this is where Job misunderstood everything. Because God never did anything to Job. God just, you know, it says in Job that God, you know, just said to the devil, he's one of my most faithful servants, you know. And the devil was like, well, I'm going to test him. And then the God said, okay, go ahead and test him then, but don't kill him. You see what I'm saying? Don't touch him. And the devil did everything to destroy Job. Job lost everything. There's people that came and stole all his animals. They came and he lost everything. They stole his stuff, and everything was going bad. He started getting sickness. The devil put him through every single obstacle you can think of. Okay. So one time I was talking on my channel about Job, and somebody said, well, Job never went through witchcraft. Where in the Bible it says that Job went through witchcraft? There is a part in the Bible, it doesn't say he went through witchcraft. But if the devil is using every single attempt to bring Job down, I guarantee you there was also witchcraft involved, because the devil uses people too. How else would those who have came into to rob Job's animals, how else would they have robbed Job's animals? The devil spoke to them and told them to rob Job's animals, right? If Job's having terrors at night in his sleep, obviously that's witchcraft. You know, because when we all go, how many of you guys went through warfare and went through, you know, fighting off warfare and witchcraft and had consistent terrorizing dreams to the point where you did not even want to go to bed? You feel like you wanted to die instead of going to bed. Do you see what I'm saying? Because you're like, being awake is a lot easier than sleeping, because when I go to bed, it's just terror. I'm being terrorized. And you know, and most of you guys go through that because of black magic, right? Because of witchcraft, right? Okay. So Job was really, really faithful, and Job had a good heart. Job did not deserve a lot of stuff that was going to him. But what Job's test was to continue being that faithful servant despite what's happening to him. That was his test. But he didn't know that. Because why? He was so caught up in self-pity, feeling sorry for himself. He said things like, God, just kill me. God, I want to just die. Like, he had suicidal thoughts, and he was just weak, and he was just saying all this self-pity stuff, right? So I'm going to read you guys some passages, because a lot of you guys go through that. A lot of you guys go through that, where you'll say a lot of these stuff about yourself, like, I'm not worthy of this. I don't deserve this. You know why, God? Because look at all the obstacles I'm going through. Therefore, if you're putting me through all these obstacles, that means I don't deserve it. God, what did I do wrong? God, why are you putting me through this? And it's not God, it's the devil, right? But it's really good. This is going to change your perspective on things, okay? Trust me, I've been through it too. So we're going to start off here. And we're going to start off with Job 7, okay? Verse 11 up to verse 16. Therefore, I will not keep silent. I will speak out against my spirit. I will complain in bitterness of my soul. I am the sea, or the monster of the deep, that you put me under guard. Am I the sea and the monster under deep that you put me under guard? When I think of my bed will comfort me, and my couch will ease my complaint. Even then you frighten me with dreams and terrify me with visions. How many of you guys went through witchcraft and that's what you experienced? Terrified dreams and visions. That's the devil, that's not God. But Job was blaming God for this. Okay? So I prefer strangling and death rather than this body of mine. I despise my life. I would not live forever. Let me alone. My days have no meaning. How many of you guys say, I don't deserve to be on earth? I have no meaning here. I have no purpose here. You know, because I'm going through all these obstacles, God. I don't deserve to be here. I don't have no meaning here. And you have this self-pity, and you're like, God, I'm such a good person in my heart. Why do I keep going through this? You know what I mean? And you guys keep saying this stuff, right? Your biggest lesson is self-pity, because you're doing everything else right. You're upright in heart, right? So your biggest lesson is self-pity, because when you have that's also the devil. The devil will use self-pity to pull you down, because when you have self-pity, what that means is that you're basically discouraging yourself. You're putting yourself down, and that alone will make you feel like you don't want to do nothing. You don't want to fight for nothing. Because why? Because you're so focused on all the negative. You're so focused on how good of a person you are and on how much you're going through, and you don't deserve this, to the point where you don't even want to fight. Why do you think those people that have big hearts that are going through stuff are still able to achieve things? They're still able to fight through the warfares. And people are like, Steph, are you still able to get up and do certain things? Because yes, I get upset and I have days where I have self-pity, but God checks me real quick and I get out the self-pity. And then guess what happens? I end up fighting. And every time I fight, God blesses me. There's a scripture about that too in Job. Let me tell you. So Job 38, 1-11. It says here, God, and God finally answered Job. This is when God answers Job. Why do you confuse the issue? Why do you talk without knowing what you're really talking about? Remember, Job was accusing God. His self-pity caused him to accuse God. So when we go through pain and the devil does things to us, we tend to sometimes get mad at God. And we tend to blame God. And we say, God, you see how good of a person I am, and you're still letting me go through this? We tend to blame God. Self-pity is the devil, because that will make you go against God. That'll make you not want to pray, discouraged to pray, and make you upset at God. Okay? Why do you confuse the issue? Why do you talk about things without knowing what you're talking about? Pull yourself together, Job. Remember I told you, when I go through my little pity moments, God, I pull myself together. Every time I pull myself together, God blesses me. God blesses me. So he says, pull yourself together, Job, up on your feet and stand tall. I have some questions for you, and I want some straight answers. Where were you when I created the earth? Tell me, since you know so much. Remember, Job was complaining to God. I was venting to God the other day, and I was getting upset, but I wasn't like, I was just saying, God, why do I deserve this? And that's when he said Job moment. And I'm like, oh God, you're right about us going through a Job moment. Because I said Job moment to you guys like a couple of days before I went through this, right? So actually, no, it was around the time I went through this. No, I was venting to God, and that's when I got the Job moment. So it was around that time. Okay, I have questions for you. Yeah, so then he said, tell me, since you know so much, who decided on its size? Certainly you know that. Who came with the blueprints of measurement? How was the foundation poured, and who set the cornerstone? The cornerstone. While the morning stars sang in chorus and all the angels shouted praise. And who took charge of the ocean when it gushed forth like a baby from the womb? That was me. I wrapped it in soft clouds. In soft clouds and tucked it safely at night. That made the playpen for it. A strong playpen so it couldn't run loose, and said, stay there. This is your place. Your wild tantrums are confirmed to this place. So self-pity is tantrums. Self-pity is tantrums. And now God is not saying that we cannot be upset at certain things. God is not saying that we can't feel like things are unfair. When we sit in self-pity, that's the devil will use self-pity to keep us stuck. Self-pity is what also causes depression or makes depression worse. See, when I go through warfare, it's hard. I take days off. But I notice that when I stay in self-pity, I don't get things done. When I strengthen myself up and I'm strong and I'm like, I'm going to fight back, I get a lot done. And then a blessing comes out of it. Job 40. Will the one who contems with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. Job answered God back. I am unworthy. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once. I have no answer twice, but I will say no more. That's self-pity again. Okay? How? Because he said I'm unworthy. God knows he's worthy. God, because if he's upright and he didn't do anything wrong, and he's going through all this stuff all of a sudden, and he knows he didn't do nothing wrong in his mind. You see what I'm saying? God told me he didn't do anything wrong. Why are you saying you're unworthy? Do you see what I'm saying? That's self-pity. That's why God told me yesterday. Oh, Holy Spirit's so deep. That's why he told me put out the message, you are well deserving. Okay. That's why he said yesterday, you are well deserving. And he showed me a vision of my community post, and he showed me a vision of me putting it on the post, right? And I'm like, okay, God, I'm going to put it up, right? Then the Lord spoke to Job and said, brace yourself like a man. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Would you discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify yourself? So basically what God is saying is you're going to discredit the justice that I'm going to give to you. You would rather condemn me just to justify yourself than actually just wait for me to justify, wait for me to vindicate you. So you'd rather condemn me to justify yourself, right? And that's why I tell you guys, like, you gotta just wait on God's timing. You gotta wait on God's timing, okay? And do you have an arm like God? Can you hear the voice thunder like his? Then adorn yourself with glory and splendor and clothe yourself with honor and majesty. So God is saying, if you had an arm like me and you can hear the thunder like me, you can clothe yourself in honor and majesty. See, I had to re-record this because God checked me. When I finished the video, God was like, Stephanie, you got to go back and watch the video. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, I wasn't going to watch it. And he's like, go back and watch it. And he corrected me. And he was saying, he is the majesty. I had to re-record the video and re-upload it. He is the majesty. Okay. And that he's basically saying that if you have the hand like me, then adorn yourself with glory and splendor and clothe yourself with honor and majesty. Unleash the fury of your wrath. Look at those who are proud and bring them low. Look at those who are proud and humble them. Crush the wicked where they stand. Bury them in all the dust together so their faces are in the grave. Basically, God is saying, I'm the only one that can do this. I'm the only one that can do this. So in order for me to vindicate you, You have to allow me to vindicate you. You got to stand strong and be proud. Okay? Stand strong and be proud. And you got to be a man, and you got to fight. You got to fight. But you also have to have faith in me. You also have to believe me. See, God said that Job lost his faith. Job lost his faith. That's what it was. And he was living in self-pity. Okay. Then God said, look at Behemoth, which I made along with you, which feeds on grass like an ox. What strength it has in lions, what a power and muscles of the belly. Its tail sway like cedar. The sinews and its thighs are close knit. Its bones are tubes of bronze and limbs and like rods of iron. Its ranks are first among God. Okay, so it ranks first among the works of God. It ranks first among the works of God. So God is explaining to Job everything that he has done, and God is also saying I made these animals strong, and I made you strong. Do you see what I'm saying? So that means you have to fight back in order for God to vindicate you. And fighting back does not mean doing what they want you to do. Fighting back means just picking up yourself and fight like a man or fight like a woman and be strong in faith. Be strong in faith and have no fear. God will give you the tools, but you have to be the one to use it. God will give you the key, but you have to use it to open the door. God will give you, if you get up and you get out that self-pity and God gives you a little bit of energy to get stuff done, you got to be the one to use that energy wisely. And be like, oh my God, I'm feeling better today. I'm not nauseated no more. My head doesn't hurt no more. Okay, I'm going to get stuff done because my head doesn't hurt no more. I'm not nauseated no more. You know what I mean? So God never told the devil, go do this and that to Job, or God never put his hand in it. God was bragging about Job, and the devil wanted to test Job, and God said, well, then go ahead and test my most faithful servant. I know he's not going to fail. But what bothered God was how Job started to blame God for all the stuff that's happening in his life, right? And going into self-pity. That's letting the devil win. Do you see what I'm saying? So Job said, okay, so after the Lord said these things to Job, he said to Eliphaz and Tanamite, these are Job's friends, I am angry with you and your two friends because you have not spoken the truth about me. As a servant, oh my God, that scared me. My gospel music came on. That scared me so much. Oh my God. Confirmation. So he said, I'm angry with you and your two friends because you have not spoken the truth about me as my servant Job has, right? So he was angry at Job's friends because they haven't spoken the truth about him like Job has, okay? So now take the bulls of 7 rams and go to my servant Job and sacrifice a burnt offering for yourselves, okay? Chapter 10 says, after Job prayed for his friends and the Lord restored his fortune. You can't believe everything people say when you tell people what you're going through. If anyone sits in your pity with you, it's not good. If no one's strengthening you, it's not good. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of stuff that they were saying as well made Job go more into pity. So they were like kind of fueling the fire. Do you see what I mean? It was making Job a little bit more upset, right? After Job prayed for his friends, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before. All his brothers and sisters and everyone who had known him before came back and ate with him in the house. They confronted and consoled him over all the trouble of the Lord he had brought on him. And each one gave him a piece of silver and a gold ring. The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. He had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, and 1,000 yoke oxen and 1,000 donkeys. And he also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. So God blessed Job more than, than he originally had. You see what I'm saying? And you just have to get out of self-pity and you have to fight back. God will bless you more, okay? And I know some of you guys don't do nothing wrong and you're frustrated and you're like, how am I going to get through life? And how am I going to talk to God? I can't hear God. Or, every time you're in self-pity, pull yourself out of it. Pull yourself out of it. Your own hands can save you sometimes. You know what I mean? You just have to think to yourself, okay, you know what? let me get this done, let me get that done, I'm gonna go and contact this employment place and see where things goes. And then God will be like, oh, she's taking matters in her own hands, she's doing positive, she's fighting through it, I'm gonna help her now I'm gonna assist her. I don't want her laying in the bed all day, you know. So guys, just get out of self-pity.